You guys know how I'm always fair in my videos and how I try to be fair and non-biased in my videos. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the Kilik and B situation. In specific, Kilik has linked a document as to saying his side in this situation. If you're not caught up, we will catch you up in this video, but also there is a part 1 as a preface as to what the B side's family is. I don't like how this document explains how it's drama because it's really not, it goes further, but it does a good job at summarizing it. So let's read the summary of who these characters are essentially that we're talking about. Kilik17 is a Roblox YouTuber who regularly streams his content on YouTube. The majority of his videos are in the fighting anime side of Roblox, which mostly comprises of people ages 14 to 20, and unfortunately has a history of toxic subcommunities reminiscent of 360 chats or older COD lobbies. His videos involve a lot of adult language, which is normal for most young people to play video games. And he sometimes goes into drama or debates, usually that happen on Discord, and makes quote-unquote humorous or trolling comments about them while expressing his feelings on the matter. The B family is a family of content creators who started back on Vine and rarely transitioned to YouTube. The members of the family include Papa B, Mama B, Mr. B, and Miss B. In this case, we're going to be talking about Miss B in this video mainly. Their content is mainly aimed towards younger audiences and those who enjoy family content. Mr. B plays many games on Fortnite and Roblox. These games make up the vast majority of his content. For some context as to what happened here, Kilik allegedly sexualized Miss B by making very inappropriate comments about her, saying that she should be gangbanged, raped, and stuff like that, which is absolutely horrible, and I do agree that Kilik does need to take some responsibility in this situation. However, the B family has made many hypocritical statements about this, and putting a 17-year-old on blast isn't exactly appropriate, which is what this document outlines, and it tries to take a non-biased stance as to the situation. This document tries to give us a timeline of events as to what happened to get us into this mess. Like, really, what happened? Why is this happening? So, early January 8th, Mr. B, the son, and Kilik first meet and have a roasting session. There's evidence of their feud going all the way back to early 2021 that the author says that they will post in their next document. January 14th, Mr. B gets people to attack and insult Kilik while he's streaming Deepwoken, then hate raids his stream. January 26, Kilik when streaming is once again attacked and harassed and then hate raided by Mr. B and his guild. In response to this, Kilik then goes on to receive that Mr. B then makes very inappropriate and offensive comments about his family to make him upset. He also comments about how unattractive his older sister quote-unquote is. Kilik, while still streaming, goes on to write the description of the stream, which includes comments about Gabriella getting blank and blanked in very inappropriate videos as a way to combat this situation, which obviously both sides very, very inappropriate behavior. Honestly, this just seems like immaturity from both sides because both sides are ultimately adding fuel to the fire by doing what they did. But ultimately, this is teenage behavior and they really need to learn and grow from this. I believe that the only way to really learn and grow from this is to do restorative justice circle, which tries to help by taking accountability for both sides, seeing where it went wrong and addressing the victim. We then learn that Kilik then, in an attempt to apologize, he learns Gabriella's eggs and then attempts to apologize and talk to Mr. B about the harassment hate speech policies on YouTube in response to the raids, but Mr. B leaves the group chat without talking. And this is where we lead to today, which my last video was about the B family uploading a video in which they call out Kilik for doing what he said about Gabriella, but falsely calling him 19 years old and then going on to say that he's a predator and a pedophile, which is a huge stretch. I said that in my last video, it is a huge stretch to call him a predator and a pedophile, because the fact is these are teenage jokes that actively hurt people, but they are not pedophiles. And then calling into question, bringing up his upbringing and intelligence, which is just wrong. And then the B family allegedly attempted to strike down some of his videos for child engagement, but YouTube actually reinstated one of them. Kilik then goes on stream to publicly apologize for what he said, but defend himself from accusations such as pedophilia and bring up what their son had done to them for the past 2 weeks. Kilik continued to milk the situation by having 10-hour live streams, stuff like that, in order to gain attention from this situation entirely. He should have just left it at one live stream and moved on, because at this point it looks like milking. None of the live streams had any good commentary to the situation. They bring up false screenshots against Mr. B, and overall it's just a really misorganized and misguided situation. And then January 28th and on, he was banned on Deepwoken, his favorite game, Kilik, and then he's received hundreds of death threats, insults, and racist remarks all in his social media media outlets, along with raids on his YouTube streams and Discord servers. This is what happens. I don't know what he expected. If you expect to come after the B family, expect a B family response, which means you're going to have at least 9 million fans, well, at least 100,000 fans coming after you in this situation. You need to be prepared for what you set yourself up for, Kilik, which is why you don't mess with these families in the first place. Yes, did the B family have evidence when it came to this situation? Yes, they did. But the document also outlines saying that sexualizing her regardless of age is disgusting is a valid point, and I agree with that. But the document goes on to say, why not criticize the B family for the same thing, in which they did sexualize their family member, which says 2 unavailable videos are hidden, 1 unavailable video is hidden, and as you can see, dad reacts to my secret camera roll and there's an inappropriate pictures. This is them suggesting that there are explicit images on their daughter's phone, who at the time was 13, and using it as a thumbnail for views. In their own words, there is no sexualization of children, which I agree with 100%. And I do understand the parents' intentions, and I do understand that people can learn and grow from this situation, which I really do hope that the document will outline in the future. The parents probably learned from this situation and probably moved on, which is why I say I don't know if these points really still stand. What Kilik did was wrong, but at the same time, putting a 17-year-old on blast where he barely got 300 to 500 views on a channel is just completely inappropriate, because now you gave him what he wanted. Kilik is going to keep responding, keep making these videos until something really be put to an end. The B family needs to work this out personally instead of putting this out onto YouTube. And Gabriella, she should not be involved with this. Respectfully, she has every right to be upset at the comments that they made at her, but her family's actions should not be blamed on her. Short part 1 of this document says Kilik is entirely in the wrong for bringing up his sister. Should have looked into her age. There is no excuse or question about that. Comments like these, when his sister was not involved, entirely not involved, are extremely inappropriate and can make someone feel bad about themselves. I completely stand with her in terms of this, because I believe that being sexually harassed like this is inappropriate. Kilik is 17, he should have known better. I'm 17, I know that he could have known better. However, I believe that Mr. B egged on this situation as well. This is simply a situation of a teenage feud being brought to adults, and then these adults did not handle it properly, having a whole effect on the entire family. You could make the argument that Gabriella, the document says, was used as a talking point during the clickbait situation, and the author of this document genuinely hopes she's doing okay. This situation should have never been about her, and she have never been the focus. In my opinion, she was the main person who deserved an apology, which she has already done on his Twitter and live streams multiple times. Can we question the genuineness of this apology after this all has happened because Kilik has rage in him? Yes, we can. Kilik owes nothing to the B fans. I definitely disagree with that, and everything should have been dealt with directly to the family, as this situation should have never been a huge public ordeal in the first place. I do agree with some of that point. The author ends off the document by saying, I don't think the parents nor Kilik are bad people, but did unreasonable things with the limited information in response to what they believe to be harassment. Mr. B should definitely be held accountable for harassing Kilik and seemingly going to his parents to cause a damaging attack on his character, and especially a smaller YouTuber, after harassing someone into a response. This is simply a situation of a teenage feud, teenage things that ultimately hurt someone in the process. Kilik actually needs to put a proper apology instead of making all these live streams, which are not helping the situation at all. Making false evidence as well is not helping the situation at all against Mr. B. And ultimately, they need to work this out privately and stop putting this on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching my video. I'd appreciate it if you go into full thoughts and watch other people's videos as well as this situation. Thank you, and I appreciate your time.